Welcome to the Nate KG podcast, where I talk with jump ropers of all skill levels with different styles, geographical locations, and fitness goals to answer the simple but all-encompassing question, what is jump rope to you? This episode, however, is a bit different. 2 weeks before this episode originally aired, which was mid-June 2019, Mike Fry and I held a jump rope workshop in Los Angeles, California, and had a whole bunch of local jumpers come out. It was an absolute blast, and at the end, we decided to test out a new live podcast format. So in this episode, we're going to hear from several different jumpers. We started with a brief interview with my friend Fausto, and then we transitioned into a round-robin style of Q&A where anyone in the workshop can ask anyone else a question. This episode is a bit shorter than usual, but we still get into some interesting topics about how boxers use jump ropes, what my favorite jump rope skill is, and what it feels like to win a world jump rope championship. And as usual, the show notes can be found over at natekg.com. So without further ado, here is a wide-ranging conversation with a whole bunch of LA jump ropers. This is kind of a different format than usual because for everyone that's listening, we're all sitting around in a circle in a gym right now after a workshop that we hosted. We're going to kind of do a bit of a round robin like I was explaining. I'm going to start with Fausto. Fausto, how you doing?
I'm doing amazing.
Awesome, man.
How are you doing?
I'm on like cloud 9 right now. 100%.
You jump rope like you're on cloud 9.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll hear from you for a little bit, and then if anyone has any questions about anyone else in the room, they can pop up and sit in the hot seat because we got 2 mics running now. So, Fausto, how'd you start jumping, dude?
9 years ago, my cousin showed me a video on YouTube, and it was that Buddy Lee one. I think he's teaching like a CrossFit people at a gym.
Yep.
And I just saw that, and I was like, I don't know how he's doing that, but I want to do that. Fast forward, 9 years later, I use the jump rope to get me sober off of drugs. And I just use that obsessive behavior from drugs and alcohol abuse to jump rope abuse.
Interesting. Yeah. So you channeled that obsession and that mindset to the jump rope to be more constructive and kind of move away from those negative habits.
Correct.
Seems to be a pretty common thing actually with jump rope. Some of the jump ropers out there. We've talked with Declan before. I've talked with Sonny before, and it's pretty common that people use jump rope as more than just a sport.
No, yeah, it's I see it as like what it's doing is what I see from my experience is it is meditation. When you're doing it's a form of meditation. You have to just focus on what you're doing, and what you're doing is you're exercising your attention awareness and you're exercising your peripheral awareness. And we never do that unless you meditate and sit. So when you're jump roping, you're doing it. So what you're really doing is you're actually practicing better decision making. So that's why it helps people lose weight, heal from trauma, get over a breakup, whatever they're dealing with, abuse, alcohol abuse, whatever it is. It helps you make that decision to say no. Yeah.
Can you elaborate on the peripheral part of the brain? Yeah,
so your attention awareness is what you give attention to. Right now, you're thinking of, oh my gosh, I got to pay rent. Oh my gosh, I got to pay rent. Oh my gosh, I got to pay rent. Even though rent's due next week, you're magnifying it, right? Your peripheral awareness is the awareness of things that are like your peripheral vision, right? That's in your peripheral awareness, right? So what happens is when you don't exercise your peripheral awareness, you're just focusing on one thing at a time. Mm-hmm. You're magnifying these things that are really not even a big deal. Mm-hmm. But when you exercise the peripheral awareness, you see everything for what it is, in a sense. You're not just focused on that one thing. You're focused on what's in front of you. And that's what it is.
So it's like a hole of focus, and you're pulling yourself out of a hole in order to see more.
Exactly.
Interesting. What's your favorite jump rope trick?
I'm
putting you on the spot on purpose.
I'm terrible with jump rope name tricks.
You can describe it. I'll help you.
Just whatever Buddy Lee does. The side swing fast and whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
That's my favorite
That's
trick.
What you want to do. Nice. Getting in the flow state, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what's your favorite trick, Nate?
It's probably a backwards kamikaze push-up or... No, it's a Sunny D. I'll tell you why it's a Sunny D. So Sunny D is a handstand where you pull backwards underneath your body. That's my favorite trick because I spent 2 hours in the gym getting it. I showed up and I literally did it over 100 times, and then I finally got it, and I was very excited. Can I show it?
I think they want to do this quick right now. You guys can't see. They just threw the jump rope in the middle.
Okay, let's try it.
Ooh. handstand backwards? Oh my god.
You can now see why.
If that one's long, this one's more short.
Wow.
All right, so we're back from the Sunny D.
That was amazing.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, fam. My name's Dustin. I guess the question is, and maybe for you, Faust, or anyone here, have you ever dealt with an injury that's jump rope related? What was it, and how did you mitigate that and come back stronger?
Oh man, I had really bad shin splints for about a year. What I figured out, my problem with shin splints, I had really bad for about a year. Like, bad. What I did was I just switched my shoes and really focused on breathing and staying relaxed and being aware of what I'm jumping on. And I haven't had them now in over a year.
I'm Chris. Hey.
Hi, Chris.
I was on the podcast, the second episode. Last time I came here for the rope event that Rushy did, I jumped about 10 hours worth of jump rope in 2 days. And I had like DOMs in my calves, and I got home, and for like 6 months the back of my heel right on the bone just would not stop hurting. I changed my shoes, I changed my jumping, just nothing. And it wasn't until about 3 weeks ago, like nearly a year later, that I've actually had the correct diagnosis. And it's what's called bone spurs, so that are like growth of the bone because of the inflammation. It tries to heal itself, but it does too good of a job, and there's now like ridges underneath the tendon that will never go away now. So I've had to choose so many different types of shoes to get over that. And it's changed my jump rope style quite significantly, because before I'd do like a very CrossFit style, and now it's a very competitive manipulation sort of style. And even today it hurts, but I have to know that my own limits, which is something I'm not good at. But I've just had to kind of learn what my limits are and learn to stretch properly. So that's kind of a lesson for everyone. You can sometimes end up with a permanent injury, and that's not good, because that stays with me now for life. So, that's going to significantly limit if I'll ever get a quad, because triples are hard enough when it hurts, slamming into the floor. So, yeah, that's quite hard, because it's gave me a bit of depression at one point. I was trying every supplement that I could find. I had two misdiagnoses. Most doctors that I went to had never, in England, because there's no jump rope really there to this capacity, had no idea how it would have happened. They just knew it was impact. So, there was a lot of time and money wasted.
So what have you done to accept that?
Kind of just change my outlook on jump rope, try as many different styles as possible, so I have things that I can do. So, before my injury, I would do a 2-hour session, but it'd be all jumping, which is quite hard on your body. So now I'll do a 2-hour session, but only 45 minutes will be jumping. The rest will be manipulations, wraps, releases. So I can take a break without taking a break. And that's actually probably made me a better jumper, because there's things that I would never have tried that will make me far more proficient. And it's kind of while I've been learning to be a PT, that's kind of taught me to be more mindful of what other people's limitations are, because people always think they can do more than you can. You always think you're invincible, and you're really not. So that's been quite a hard lesson to learn. Have any of the people here, like you guys that have competed, have you ever had an injury, and how long did that take?
Yeah. So I have had an injury. When I was at regionals in California, when was it? I want to say, because this one was pretty gnarly, and it's kind of shaped why I work out the way I work out. I want to say it was probably 2014. I was at regionals, and I was throwing an EK to double under frog, which is so you spin 360 degrees, and then you immediately bounce up into a handstand position, which, if you're not conditioned after a year of college like me, your core isn't strong, and neither is your lower back. So when you land in the handstand, it's very possible that you'll hyperextend your back and you'll be in a lot of pain, which is exactly what happened. And so I actually remember having a hard time walking around, because my lower back was just thrown out completely. And then getting back into any jumping was rough, because obviously you need a stabilized core and lower back for anything you do in jump rope. So I started doing a lot of Jefferson curls, because Jefferson curls, if you guys have seen my story, that's literally what I do almost every single time I work out, because that strengthens the entire posterior chain, gets my thoracic nice and loosened up, and that's my go-to. And so now I'm constantly protecting against that, because that lower back, if I'm not strong, if I'm not good on my posterior chain, it'll get thrown out again. I use them for warm up. I use them for the actual workout, and I use them afterwards. It depends on how much weight you put on it, obviously, but you can use it for all the above. Yeah. So the question was, when Mike became a world champion, how did that feel?
It felt really good. And actually, the first world championship I won was with Liz. She was on that team. It was a team of 5. That's Liz. She's amazing. She's probably one of my oldest jump rope teammates, friends, everything. We've been jumping together for 22 years because I've been jumping for 23. She came on the year after.
Would you be down to come over here and talk with Mike a little bit? That'd be really awesome.
Liz is a freaking legend.
Clap it up for Liz.
Yeah.
Clap it up for Liz.
This is Liz. She's amazing.
Say hey into the podcast.
Hi, everyone. I'm Liz.
Yeah, you are. So Liz and I have known each other for 22 years. We both grew up in Ohio, and there weren't very many jump rope teams around the country at all. But in our state, there were maybe 3 or 4, which is a lot for one state. And we just happened to be in an area that had a team. So I joined in 96, and I guess you were 97?
97, yeah.
And we jumped together for a while. And then 2002, we qualified for Team USA to go to Ghent, Belgium, and competed a whole bunch of stuff, and we were the overall mixed team champion. So you can compete as a male team, all-female team, or a mixed team.
That was pretty cool.
It was good times. It was really fun. So we'll always have that kind of memory. Okay, 2002, so I was born in 86. What? 14? 16. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was
16
14 or 15. Yeah.
The events. Okay, so the events have changed over the years a lot, and I don't even know what the current events are for most of the world championships because they change every year. But I think the ones that we did, jump rope competitions are broken into speed and freestyle. So speed is how fast you can jump. The best comparison I could give is like a track event. So the 100-meter dash for us would be 30-second speed. You jump as fast as you can using an alternating right-left jog step. We also have 3-minute speed, so that would be like a mile run. So you'll do speed as an individual or as a team. We went as a team, so all of our events were team events. So we did team speed events and team freestyle events. And those events were 4x30 speed. So I would jump for 30 seconds, Liz jumps for 30 seconds, Chris jumps for 30 seconds, Nate jumps for 30 seconds. And they tally up your score. And then whichever team has the highest score at the end of it would be the winner. But that's one event. And then another event was 3x40 double dutch speed. So that's 3 people. Each person is jumping double dutch speed for 40 seconds, and then you switch out. And there's if you're a jumper, you would switch off with the turner, and the turner would give you the ropes, and then they would jump in and now become the jumper. And then they jump for 40 seconds, and then they switch, and then the last person goes for 40 seconds. So a couple speed events like that, and then getting into freestyle, there's a pairs routine. So Chris and Kyle were working on a pairs routine today. That's a synchronized routine. You're each doing the same tricks at the same time, and occasionally you're interacting in unique ways. So you could lift somebody up or flip them or scoop them with your rope, where they kind of come inside your rope. There's also double dutch routines. Sorry, I'm talking a lot, Liz.
Oh, that's
Go
okay.
ahead.
Can you describe what your parts were? Do you remember what your parts were?
I do.
Yeah.
In the freestyle, so there was a 4-person single rope, right? So that's kind of unique to the World Championships. I'm not sure if they still do that. Do they?
They do, yeah.
So this was a 4-person single rope routine. So kind of like the pairs, but with 2 extra people. So it added an element of difficulty because everyone had to be together, and you had to come up with a routine that was unique and challenging, but with all 4 people's skills. So, it had to be kind of a mixture of everything.
Yeah, synchronized, a lot of interaction, a lot of movement. 4 people can really, make some interesting formations and do some really unique interactions. So yeah, that was a fun one.
And the added element of music was a different
it's
thing.
all choreographed to music.
Yeah.
So you can pick any song you want to. A lot of people just put on music and just jump, and it's sort of background music. But when you're able to choreograph it, and I know our 4-person single rope was choreographed, every jump was to a beat. And you try to just pick a song that you can relate to, that makes you feel good. I know a lot of you people that I've seen jumping on Instagram. Music is a big part of the stuff that you post. So you want something that feels good and that makes you feel free to move around, and that you can choreograph to the beat as well.
Mm-hmm. And that keeps you motivated because you have to practice for so many hours and so many days that you want to pick a song that's not going to drive you nuts, and that will kind of pump you up and get you motivated to jump for the 4th or 5th hour of the day.
Yeah. It's a lot of practicing, a lot of hours in the gym. Just like any other sport. If you want to be really great at basketball or swimming or soccer, you have to put in the work. Actually, I have a question at one point for Mario. If you could talk about boxing and how jump rope ties in with boxing. I've always been fascinated by, Other sports incorporate jump rope occasionally. You'll see some basketball players jumping. You see every single boxer jumping. Can you talk about the relationship between jump rope and boxing?
So every boxer starts by footwork, right? So you got to teach the boxer how to walk in the ring, how to, move to laterally, forward, backwards. So the main thing is that they got them on their toes. So you kind of got to work on what you call your calf a lot. And jump rope is one exercise that it's the easiest. It's pretty, kids can do it. And even older adults can do it. You know what I mean? It's something that's not heavy with weights or anything like that. So you want to keep that person bouncing a lot in the ring. You want to keep them flat-footed, because if they start fighting with their heels on the floor, when there's punches coming at you like at full speed, it's hard to like jump away from that. So when you're on your toes, you're pretty much you're more elusive, to get shots. And then you can use your forward foot to jump back, and you can use your back foot to jump forward. So to strengthen up those muscles, jump rope is one of the best ways to stay sharp in the ring, Yeah. So in my experience, like I think that saved me from getting punched really hard in the face, at times, I have that bounce to move and not stay in the same spot and just make it hard for my opponent to catch me, and I think that's one of the most important things that as a boxer you should always practice is jumping rope. So,
Is there like a cardio tie into, like, because if you can jump for a long time, you've got a strong heart, strong lungs. I know nothing about boxing, but you have to last a long time. If you're doing 12 rounds, like, it's a long time to be on your feet, moving around, punching, taking punches. Like, does the cardio that you get from jump rope have anything to do with that?
So it's like around, I think 20 minutes of jump rope equals to like the same amount of if you were jogging, at a really good like mid pace, you know what I mean? Like if you go out there and you do your road work as a boxer, and you're just like, and there's gonna be rainy days, there's gonna be I don't know where do you live in the country, some people are caved in with snow, so they can't really go out and run on the road. So jump roping is super important. Like every boxer should always implement it into their regimen, And the other thing is that your heart rate, you as a professional jumper, I'm pretty sure you know when you're hitting those double unders, at triple unders, like your heart rate is all the way up. So same thing in boxing, when you're throwing flurries, like flurries, I mean like from 6 punches to 10 punches, from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way, your heart's gonna start pumping really, really fast. And when you do like double unders, it pretty much relates to doing a flurry in boxing. So they go hand in hand, if you're doing that type of intensity in the ring, doing double unders is probably the best, to kind of simulate that situation, in the ring. When you get a boxer he's really flat-footed, he doesn't really have a lot of coordination, where to move, and you get him on that jump rope, it just like from night and day, he starts moving differently, you know what I mean? Just because of the movement of the feet, so you keep him make him jump rope like for a whole week. The following week, he's not going to be flat-footed because he has like that itch to be on his toes, again. Yeah. So that's one way to break a bad habit like that, just give him a jump rope and he'll be moving a little bit more.
That's awesome. Yeah. I know like the coordination can be really hard to develop at first for a lot of people, but I feel like it's something that you just put in the work. The rhythm, I think, is really important, of just like being able to jump to a beat. I don't know how you're moving around in the ring is that a similar rhythm to like the speed of jumping, kind of like that?
You got somebody punching at you, right? And you're not punching a bag, and someone's like coming after you. So your timing has to be on point. It has to be like, all right, he's throwing a jab. Do I slip? Do I pull back? Do I block? Do I just block and counter? Same thing when like you're doing a crossover. You're like, all right, you gotta like just time it perfectly. You know what I mean? Otherwise you'll get tangled on your feet. So timing's I think very, very similar to jumping rope. Just like decisions, it'll help you take decisions quicker, faster. Reflexes start getting sharper. More than anything, the timing will be like a lot better for a boxer, to start like practicing with the jump rope. They tend to like pick up on timing a lot better.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, so the question was, are there any muscles that jump ropers, competitive jump ropers, tend to neglect? Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. We're definitely quad and calf dominant. I think that kind of goes without saying. But in terms of ones that get neglected, I think potentially upper body, if you're not doing a huge amount of push-ups and handstands. My personal belief about competitive jump ropers is that they should be doing a lot of functional training. They should be doing some level of back squats, some level of deadlift, some level of weight training and calisthenics like pull-ups, just because if you're a competitor, you should be developing that whole chain. Even if you're not going to be competing a deadlift movement, correct? If you're not going to be competing a deadlift movement, you can still use that explosiveness and that strength to apply to everything that you do, which is why I always train those movements for myself, because it gives me more power. When you're training, you can train different energy systems of the body, even if it's not exactly the same movement. By training that energy system with the correct muscle groups, you can have carryover skill acquisition, right? But yeah. All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here. Thanks for everyone that chatted and was on the podcast. And I'll speak to you next time.